In the top stories, St. Kitts and Nevis remains among the region's high-income economies, according to the World Bank. Regionally, Prime Minister Gaston Brown is urging the United States to lift its visa restrictions on Antiguans and Barbudans. And internationally, search teams are looking for a cargo plane that's gone missing off Pakistan's coast. Hello and welcome to today's ZIZ Midday Major Newscast. Today is Wednesday, the 8th of July, and I am Jasmine Thomas. First, on the local scene, St. Kitts and Nevis has retained its status as a high-income economy in the World Bank's latest annual income classification. The federation remains in the World Bank's highest income category, alongside Antigua and Barbuda, the Bahamas, Barbados, Guyana, and Trinidad and Tobago. High-income economies record a GNI of $375 or more. The classifications are based on 2025 gross national income per capita, measured in US dollars using the World Bank's Atlas methodology. The methodology smooths exchange rate fluctuations to reduce the impact of short-term volatility, while the income thresholds are updated each year to account for inflation. The report also notes that changes in economic growth, population growth, national accounting methods, and data revisions can affect a country's classification. Jamaica remains in the upper middle income category, while the World Bank said none of the economies assessed this year moved down an income group. The Prime Minister, Dr. Terence Drew, held talks on Tuesday with U.S. Chargé d'Affaires to Barbados, Karen Sullivan, on the sidelines of the 51st CARICOM Heads of Government meeting in St. Lucia. The meeting formed part of a series of bilateral engagements taking place during the regional summit. The two sides discussed issues of mutual interest and reaffirmed their commitment to continued cooperation between St. Kitts and Nevis and the United States. The 51st CARICOM Heads of Government meeting concludes today in St. Lucia. And the captain of the Maracana ferry, Dwayne Hodge Connor, says he is grateful that no lives were lost when the MV Apple sank on the 29th of June. The Maracana crew were among the first to respond after the Apple began taking on water. ZIZ's Kent Fuentes has more.
The MV Maracana returns to St. Kitts following another safe and successful trip to St. Martin. And as its passengers disembark, it was business as usual. 1 week ago, however, everything changed when Captain Connor and his crew, having just departed St. Kitts on what was expected to be a routine voyage, were called upon to assist a fellow vessel in distress. Captain Connor described the initial response.
On Monday morning, about 9:55 or so, we left St. Kitts Basketball Control. We proceeded out to go towards the station, and then on the way out, after radioing the tower and telling them our count of 80 passengers and 4 crew, we then noticed that there was a vessel that was Appleside was kind of not looking the way she should look on the water, and then me and one of my crew, Deva Fleming, we kind of went back and forth about if it was okay or not. And then we VHF them on the radio on channel 16. The captain did answer. He said that he would take down water, and we just quickly went towards the vessel, and also calling the port to notify them that there was a distress situation going on.
As the rescue operation got underway, Captain Connor said there were a number of challenges.
The operation took us about a half an hour. On the first approach, we were able to rescue 3 people, and then on the second attempt to get closer to the vessel, because we then realized that the passengers couldn't swim, and they were refusing to get in the water to seek help. They wanted the boat to come to them, and then Maracana being such a big vessel versus a small vessel to be 99 tons, to put this weight of this boat onto that one might have caused it to sink probably more off, even faster. They didn't want to take that risk, so we was getting them life rings and bring them aboard via ropes and life ring. It was a team effort. The crew did pretty well.
The Makana captain said he was also grateful that his passengers understood the situation and the delay it caused to their journey. He said his crew's response was part of normal maritime practice and stressed the importance of regular safety drills for ferry operators.
Actually, so we have to do drills like once a month. You do a sinking drill, or you do a fire on board, or you do the man overboard. So those are the same things that you do when you do international voyages.
While there are still questions about what caused the MV Apple Cider incident, Captain Connor said the maritime industry recognizes that there is always a risk of something going wrong at sea.
I've known Frankie for a long time. His wife is a friend of mine. He's a friend of mine. Just in every situation you're gonna learn, and there's no fault. I don't think it's any fault of anybody on. It's just probably bad timing. I don't know the nature of the situation, what happens with it, but it can happen to anybody at any given time, any place, anywhere. I mean, you're on a boat, you're in the water. I mean, there's people bring up the story about Hitler not knowing that steel and metal can float, and now it's floating. I mean, so I can't tell them anything that they should have done this or should have done that, because I was not in that situation.
I also asked Captain Connor whether his crew's actions were heroic. This was his response.
The act looks to you as heroic, but my crew, we owe everything to the whole team, the crew, the passengers, everybody. Because if the passengers was not cooperative, it would have been a difficult job to do. So being a hero, no, it's just a way of life for us.
Kent Fuentes, ZIZ News.
On the regional scene, Antigua and Barbuda's Prime Minister Gaston Brown is urging the United States to lift its tightened visa restrictions, saying they are affecting trade, commerce, students and families with ties to the country. Speaking on the sidelines of the CARICOM Heads of Government meeting in St. Lucia, Brown said he hoped the measures would have been temporary. Under the current policy, visitor visas for Antigua and Barbuda nationals are limited to a single entry over 3 months, replacing the previous 10-year multiple entry visa. Some applicants may also be required to post a bond of up to $15,000. Washington has said the restrictions are linked to security concerns surrounding Antigua and Barbuda's citizenship by investment program. Brown said Antigua and Barbuda remains a strong partner of the United States and expressed hope that the restrictions will soon be removed. French Guiana has become the 8th associate member of the Caribbean community, further expanding the regional bloc as leaders meet in St. Lucia for the 51st CARICOM Heads of Government Summit. The agreement was signed by CARICOM Chairman, Prime Minister Philippe Père, and President of the Territorial Collectivity of French Guiana, Gabriel Sauvel. Prime Minister Père described the agreement as an important step in strengthening regional cooperation, saying it will create new opportunities for collaboration in areas including trade, climate resilience, education and health, security and cultural exchanges. On the international scene, Pakistani authorities have launched a major search and rescue operation after a cargo plane with 5 people on board lost contact with air traffic control while approaching Karachi. The Boeing 737 freighter reported a navigational system problem before communication was lost over the Arabian Sea. Prime Minister Shehbaz Sharif has ordered authorities to accelerate search and rescue efforts, while the airline said it is cooperating with civil aviation officials as the investigation continues. Flight tracking data indicated the aircraft experienced sharp changes in altitude before disappearing from the radar. And 8 children have been killed after a landslide triggered by heavy monsoon rains buried a school at Rohingya refugee camp in southern Bangladesh. Officials said the building was covered by mud and debris after days of heavy rain. 13 children were pulled from the rubble, 8 died, while 5 others were taken to hospital for treatment. The tragedy comes just days after separate rain-triggered landslides killed 8 other Rohingya refugees in the camps. More than 1.2 million refugees live in the overcrowded settlements at Cox's Bazar, where makeshift shelters on steep hillsides remain highly vulnerable during the monsoon season. Forecasters are warning of more rain in the days ahead, with authorities remaining on alert for further landslides and flash flooding. We now take a look at the weather. Partly sunny, hazy and breezy conditions are expected across the Federation today, with only a slight chance of showers. Forecasters say relatively stable conditions will limit shower activity throughout the day. However, shallow moisture ahead of an approaching tropical wave could bring a moderate chance of brief overnight showers. Temperatures are expected to reach a high of 33 degrees Celsius with an overnight low of 24 degrees. Winds will be from the east at 12 to 21 miles per hour with gusts of up to 30 miles per hour, especially over open waters and elevated areas. Seas will range between 5 and 7 feet. Small craft operators are advised to continue exercising caution. Sunset this evening will be at around 6:49, while sunrise tomorrow is expected to be at about 5:45. That brings us to the end of the Midday Major Newscast. Join us this evening for these stories and more. Thank you for tuning in. I am Jasmine Thomas. God bless you.